Welcome back. Well, before we went into that break, we were highlighting the fact that Nifty has seen a bit of a bounce on the low point of the day. I'll tell you what, retail audience out there will be feeling a little bit better, at least in the near term, because the mid-cap and the small-cap indices, they're not down as much as what the Nifty is down. The mid-cap index, remember, has recovered a goodish bit from the low point of the day. The small-cap index as well is now down only around 1.7% odd. So from the day's low, after underperforming for the first 90 minutes or so, we're seeing a bit of a recovery in select stocks in the broader markets. Keep an eye out on that. As I mentioned earlier, we're not out of the woods, but select stocks, they're seeing some bit of chipping in. Let's get straight to our first corporate though on the show. We're joined by Mr. Bakeri, the chairman and managing director of Symphony, to discuss the company's business outlook, the impact on commodity prices, as well as get a sense on demand on ground. Hi, Mr. Bakeri. Always good speaking to you. Thanks so much for joining in on the show. Well, various reports indicate that demand is a little bit softer on ground because of price increases. That may not be for your company, but industry on the whole. If you could give us a sense, what is the price increase we've seen in Q4 in comparison to Q3? A broad sense out there. And what about demand? Has demand got impacted, or are you seeing strong demand on ground? Please go ahead.
All right. So as far as our product is concerned, we have increased prices in the last 1 year, not necessarily in the current quarter. And the price increase has been anywhere from low single digits to maybe 11, 12%, depending on the product. But on an average, it's been about, let's say, 7 or 8%. We have absorbed quite a bit of the costs on the expectations that some of the costs will actually soften going forward. Besides, and that was another reason also was that there is fair amount of inventory lying, with the channel carried over from last year, and in fact even the year before. So a price increase wouldn't really have helped us much. So we've sort of resorted to sort of low price increases. But going forward, beginning from next month, we do intend to sort of correct that. As far as demand is concerned, again for our products, we are seeing a fairly good sort of uptick in demand. We believe it's for a variety of reasons. One, of course, is that the temperatures have begun to rise. They are already in their sort of mid to high 30s in different parts of the country. And there has also been this sort of pent-up demand of the last 2 years. And of course, that now that the Omicron wave is behind us and there is no looming threat of another wave ahead, I think there is a fair amount of enthusiasm and optimism, not only amongst the trade, but also with the retail consumer. So all in all, so far, we are seeing a fairly robust demand.
Mr. Bakeri, morning. This is Rima here. We've seen a tremendous commodity price increase in the last 2 months, January and February, given what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. For your company at Symphony, have prices gone up further compared to the 31st December levels? And if yes, by how much?
So depending on the commodity, commodities like, let's say, paper, which goes into packaging of products that we produce, or let's say aluminum or copper or steel, all these have seen an unabated rise in the last couple of months. And then at the same time, some commodities like, plastics have actually softened a little from their highs of a few months ago, the post-pandemic highs of a few months ago, but they're still significantly higher than what they were pre-pandemic. So it's a mixed bag. Some prices, some commodities have softened a bit, some have increased, but the ones that have softened may also go up going forward because of the crude hitting $120 a barrel, and all plastics, all polymers prices are linked to crude prices. So with a lag, unless this situation corrects itself, there should be sort of increase in commodity prices as well. Polymer prices as well. So essentially, what we use are polymers to a great degree, and the metals which go into the electrical components, paper which goes into packaging, and so some have gone up, some have not, and the ones that have not are likely to going forward.
Hi, Mr. Bakeri, morning. What are your inventory levels currently, and can you give us some sense on how rural demand is?
So at the company level, our inventory levels are fairly within control, but the channel inventory is fairly high, because of carried over stocks from previous year, like I said before, and in some cases even from the summer of 2020. But all it takes in our category is a couple of weeks of 40 plus temperatures for everything to get washed out. So the way it looks now, by sometime in April, middle of April, end of April, the entire channel, the entire industry should be fairly relieved of high inventory levels, and there should be replenishment of stocks. And manufacturers will begin to sort of supply, to the channel again. But as I said, at the company level, our inventory levels are fairly under control.
Okay, very quickly, Mr. Bakeri.
In fact, we're building inventory as we.
Mr. Bakeri, very quickly, Q4 margins will be at par with Q3. If you could give a sense out there. And point number 2, you said that you'll be looking at correcting prices from April. That would mean a price increase. If yes, what could that quantum be?
So yes, Q4 margins are going to be very much in line with Q3, but from April onwards, we would increase the prices. How much it will be is something a little difficult to say at this moment, because we are sort of looking at studying the situation. We'll see how it appears at the end of the quarter, and then take a call on that. But it'll certainly be in the, I would say, the high single digits, if not in the low double digits.
Thank you, Mr. Bakeri, for joining us. That's the word coming in from Symphony. We'll slip into a very short break. We'll come back and discuss market.